Have you ever wondered why the word Zion stirs something deep inside the human heart, even if we can't quite explain why? Why this ancient name appears again and again throughout the Bible, echoing through the Psalms, ringing through the prophets, and rising again in the New Testament like a prophetic drumbeat? Why has Zion become a symbol of God's presence, His promises, His kingdom, and His people? If your soul has ever felt drawn to something deeper, something holy, then this journey is for you. Because Zion is not just a location. Zion is a message. Zion is a revelation. Zion is a story of redemption stretching from Genesis to Revelation. So let's begin at the beginning, with the truth many Christians were never taught. Let's explore 5 biblical truths about Zion. Truth number 1, the geography of Zion, where it all began. Before Zion became a spiritual symbol, before it became the city of David, before the ark was carried up its slopes, before the prophets saw visions of Zion restored, it was simply a hill. A rugged, ordinary, unimpressive hill among the limestone ridges around ancient Jerusalem. The very first time the Bible mentions Zion is in 2 Samuel 5:7, when David finally conquers the fortress of the Jebusites. It reads, "Nevertheless, David captured the stronghold of Zion, that is, the city of David." But long before David ever set foot near it, Zion sat quietly, unnoticed by the world, yet chosen by God. It wasn't the tallest hill. It wasn't the most defensible. It didn't look particularly glorious. And that's the point. God often chooses places and people that the world overlooks. David didn't capture Zion because it was glorious. Zion became glorious because God chose it. This is echoed in Psalm 132. For the Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his habitation. Zion was humble, unimpressive, ordinary, but chosen. This is why Zion speaks so deeply to us, because many of us feel ordinary, overlooked, or insignificant. And yet God loves to breathe purpose into what seems small. The geography of Zion teaches us that God's glory often begins in the most unexpected places. Truth number 2, the historical Zion, from David to the temple. Now that we understand the landscape, the story expands with David. When David captured Zion, everything changed. He transformed that once insignificant fortress into the capital of Israel, the center of worship, government, and national identity. The Jebusites mocked David, saying he would never get in. But David did. And from that moment on, Zion became known as the city of David. Why did God choose Zion as David's throne? Psalm 78 gives us the answer. He also chose David his servant, and he chose Zion whom he loved. Once the city belonged to Israel again, David did something even more significant. He brought the Ark of the Covenant, the visible symbol of God's presence, into Zion. When the Ark entered Zion, it was no longer just a capital. It became the dwelling place of God's glory. Psalm chapter 50 verse 2 declares, "Out of Zion the perfection of beauty God has shone forth." Imagine that. God shining forth from a hill that used to belong to Israel's enemies. Later, Solomon built the temple on Mount Moriah, a neighboring ridge. Yet as time went on, the entire complex, the city of David, the Temple Mount, and eventually all of Jerusalem, became known collectively as Zion. Zion became the place of worship, the place of sacrifice, the place where heaven met earth, the place where God chose to dwell among his people. When Israel prayed, they prayed toward Zion. When the psalmist sang, they sang about Zion. When the prophets spoke, Zion was their reference point. The historical Zion teaches us that God takes ordinary beginnings and builds extraordinary purposes. Truth number 3, the prophetic Zion, what the prophets saw coming. After Solomon's time, Israel's story took a dark turn. Jerusalem was invaded. The temple was destroyed. God's people were exiled. But even in the midst of judgment, God gave Israel a promise through the prophets. Zion will be restored. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Micah, Joel, and Zephaniah all spoke of a coming day when Zion would rise again, not just physically, but spiritually, globally, and eternally. Listen to Isaiah 51:3. For the Lord will comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and her wilderness he will make like Eden. A devastated Zion turned into Eden, a place of ruin turned into a place of beauty, a place of shame turned into glory. Then Isaiah 60 declares, Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. And Isaiah 2:3 prophesies, For out of Zion will go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. The prophets saw something breathtaking. Zion's destiny would reach far beyond ancient Israel. Zion would become a symbol of God's restoration, a promise of our Messiah, a beacon for all nations, a prophecy of God's future kingdom on earth. Prophetic Zion teaches us that even when everything looks lost, God's plans are never defeated. He restores, He rebuilds, He resurrects. Truth number 4, the spiritual Zion, the people of God in Christ. With Jesus, Zion's meaning expands once again. Jesus enters Jerusalem, the city of Zion, on a donkey, fulfilling the prophecy of Zechariah 9:9. Behold, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey. Jesus is the son of David, the rightful king returning to Zion, but the Zion he entered was not ready to receive him. Yet through his life, death, and resurrection, something miraculous happens. Zion becomes no longer just a physical location, but a spiritual identity. The New Testament reveals this stunning truth in Hebrews 12. But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. This means Zion is where God dwells, where God's people belong, the church, the redeemed of Christ, and your spiritual home. Peter confirms this by calling believers living stones being built into a spiritual house in 1 Peter 2:5. You, as a believer of Jesus, are part of Zion. You are part of God's chosen dwelling place. You are part of His covenant community. You have citizenship in the heavenly Jerusalem right now. Spiritual Zion teaches us that God's presence is no longer limited to a hill in the Middle East. He now dwells in His people, in you. Truth number 5, the eternal Zion. And finally, Zion teaches us that God's dwelling place is not distant, it is near. Psalm 46 verse 5 declares, God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Joel 3:21 promises, the Lord dwells in Zion. Zion is not a distant hope. It is the promise that God is with us now. In our struggles, in our worship, in our waiting, His presence is our fortress. So we return to the question we began with, what is Zion? Is it a place, a people, a promise? Perhaps it is all three, woven together in the heart of God's eternal plan. Zion is where heaven meets earth, where God's presence dwells, where His people find refuge, and where His promises become reality. The question is not where Zion is, but whether you will enter in. Take a moment. Breathe. Let these truths settle in your heart. God is building His Zion, and you are part of it. If this video blessed you, like, comment, and subscribe for more biblical meditations. And remember, the gates of Zion are open. Will you walk through? Remember to ask Jesus to show you how much He loves you today.